Alright, welcome to another installment of Math Basics of Mr. Besh. Today we're talking inequalities, and we are going to just start out. I'm going to make a few of these videos. They're going to get more complicated as they go down the list. And this is an example of what happens when you solve a basic inequality. Look, inequalities are solved just like equations. There's a few extra little wrinkles. But instead of seeing the standard equal sign in it like you do in an equation, inequalities have these symbols: greater than, less than, greater than or equal to, or less than or equal to. Alright, now the first thing that we need is an inequality to solve. And we got one right here. 3x minus 2 is greater than 10. So just like you'd solve a two-step equation, you solve this inequality. Alright, for our first step to solve this guy, you basically take the opposite of minus 2 and you add 2 to both sides. So now, minus 2 and plus 2 is the additive inverse, is going to make 0. So you're left with just 3x on the left-hand side. And 10 plus 2 is going to give you 12 on the right-hand side. And finally, our last step, 3 in front of x means multiply by 3, so we do the opposite. We're going to divide this side by 3 and this side by 3. 3x divided by 3 gives you 1x. 12 divided by 3 gives you 4. Notice my symbol, my value, x is greater than 4. Something I want you to notice. This doesn't say x is equal to 4. It says x is greater than 4. And as a result, this represents a large range of values, an infinite range of values. And unlike an equation where you have an equal sign, where it concludes the answer is just one value, or in some of our rare cases the infinite or the no solutions, the inequality has a representation that we need to take and graph. Okay, now the reason why we take our inequality and graph it is it gives us the true representation of what x is greater than 4 represents. To make our graph, we start with a simple number line. Now, when we talk about a number line, number lines don't have to start with 0. They don't have to look like something that you'd see on a wall inside a math class. A number line can start with any values that you want. The number line is just used to show you that window of what the inequality is going to represent. As you can see from my example, whatever the inequality, whatever value is in that inequality, like 4, that is what I normally put smack dab in the center of my number line. Then I count out to the right and to the left. Normally what I would do is I would put a couple slashes to the right, a few slashes to the left. I also wanted you to see how I started numbering this. Remember, every number line, you do not have to list every single value that you see. In this example, because my center value is 4, I'm counting by 2's. So the next number you see on my number line is 6 to the right, and then 2 to the left. A lot of times students will put too many numbers on their number line, and the whole reason for using the number line in the first place is to try to make it easier to understand, and you don't want to overcomplicate things. And when you have things all messed up and cluttered, sometimes it becomes hard to read for an individual. Alright, so now we need to construct our array. Array starts with an endpoint. Now what's going to happen is our endpoint is either going to be an open circle or a closed circle. If the symbol in inequality is greater than or less than, we use the open circle. If the symbols we see in our inequality are greater than or equal to or less than or equal to, we use our closed circle here. So now we construct our array. The inequality says x is greater than 4, so the array starts on the number line above where it represents 4. Notice that I'm using the open circle because it is a greater than symbol. And now you have to determine the direction of the array. It either goes to the right or left. If the symbol that you see is greater than, it goes to the right. If the symbol is less than, it goes to the left. So because it is a greater than symbol, my arrow goes to the right-hand side. An easy way to remember this is if you look at the greater than symbol, it actually kind of makes an arrowhead pointing in this direction. So that's just one of the things that we normally tell students the first time that they see this, just to help them out a little bit. And that's how to solve and graph a basic inequality. In the next video, we will talk about what happens when you have to reverse the sign. I hope you found this both helpful and informative.